Welcome to Community Talk. I'm Dan Schiedel, the CEO of United Way of Enid in Northwest Oklahoma. My guest today is Mr. John Gray, who is the Coach a Kid Mentoring Program Coordinator of our program in our elementary schools and actually getting ready to expand in our middle schools. Welcome to Community Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. Well, so let's talk. What's new with Coach a Kid? Because I know there are a lot of people out there that probably already know a little bit about Coach a Kid, but maybe you want to talk a little bit about what it is and where we're at today.
Well, Coach a Kid is this is his fourth year, a mentoring program that is in the Enid, Oklahoma School District. One of the new things is we are now in the middle schools.
That's exciting.
Yes. So
I know they've been asking to expand into the middle schools. So
I've had parents and teachers ask me, hey, when are you guys going to move into the middle schools? And we had to do some things. We had to show some productivity and some growth, which we were able to do. And I can only thank the community because it has nothing to do with me. You know, I didn't do anything special. And so we were able to present our case to Dr. Floyd, and he looked at our presentation.
Who's the superintendent?
Who happens to be the superintendent
of Public Schools.
Enid Public Schools.
If you don't already know that, right?
Right. And he chose to allow us to move forward with it. So now we're in every middle school in Enid.
Right.
So that's going to have some challenges, and we're looking forward to meeting those challenges. You know, last year I was asked, well, how many mentors did I want to have? And I threw out the number 100. Well, we got to 84. So now I'm going to throw out a new number because we have a tremendous amount of students in the middle schools alone. In the middle schools, it comes to, I think, around 2,000 students. So
I mean, we've got about 5% of mentors and mentees. We're looking at another 100 at least,
another
right?
100, and it will escalate if more. I was at some place yesterday with some middle school students, and I asked, hey, did any of you guys hear about the Coach a Kid program? And there was 18 students there, and one raised their hand. They said, yeah, I know about Coach a Kid. So either maybe one of his brothers or sisters were in the program, or he actually looked at one of the bulletin boards at school and saw some of the information.
Something, yeah. Well, you know, the Coach a Kid program, as you mentioned, we're in our fourth year. And so we're getting ready to launch into this new school year. And we're doing some additional things outside of expanding in the middle schools. We're also talking about maybe trying to provide some STEM toolkits for the mentors and the mentees. So talk a little bit about STEM kits.
We've applied for some what I call STEM toolkits, and the reason I'm calling them toolkits is it'll allow for our students to work in various environments where they can go in and get hands-on, touch it and feel it and manipulate it. So we've requested these toolkits for not only the elementary school age kids, but also the middle school age kids. And the middle school age kids, we're looking at electronics and robotics and engineering and some other disciplines that they'll be able to take and use through high school, through, if some of them choose to go to Autry Tech and college, because when you look at robotics and drones, the sky's the limit.
Right.
So we wanted to give them a big heads up.
Pun intended, right?
Well, you know me. We wanted to give them an opportunity to explore these areas because you never know. We might wind up having another scientist that comes from here.
Right.
And
well,
does
we're
great
hopeful,
things.
and I think we can. And one of the things that when you and I were talking about the actual STEM toolkits, is that we've applied for a grant. We're hoping that the grant will come through so that we can afford to buy those for the schools and put them in all the elementary and the middle schools, right?
Right.
So there'll be one for each school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there'll be one for each school. And because we have 3 middle schools, my thought process was to have enough so that every quarter the school will get new toolkits, and they'll go around.
So they just rotate.
So exactly.
Okay.
So they'll rotate, and all middle school kids will be able to use use these toolkits.
Well, but primarily we're targeting the coach kid.
The coach kid, right.
Kids. So that's really who we're targeting and trying to help them, with their studies and with them getting interested in maybe a career or a different path in their lives. So.
And I think I'm a firm believer in non-traditional education. And sometimes when you have the walls and desks, for some students, that's not the optimal environment for them. I can't say for overall, but when you challenge a student one-on-one and you're giving that student a half an hour or an hour a week of that one-on-one, it tends to make a difference.
So John, let's talk about mentors, the mentees. We've got an event coming up on September 17th, which is a Monday.
Yes.
Monday afternoon, evening, 4 to 7? 4 to 7. So why don't you talk a little bit about the event?
We've partnered up with Leonardo's. And Leonardo's has allowed us to use their space, free of charge, I might add, for our kickoff event, which is going to be from 4 to 7. Now, all the students who are in Coach a Kid, they're being invited, the school knows. Every student who wants to participate in Coach a Kid, or every counselor that recommends a student, we're inviting those students to come down to Coach a Kid. They can come with their parent or their guardian, find out more about the Coach a Kid program, fill out an application for a permission slip for the student to participate. And I'm hoping we'll get a number of professionals as well as college students to actually come in that day and sign up to become mentors.
Right. So we need a lot of mentors. We need, of course, the students to sign up. So if you're a parent, you have a child that maybe needs a little extra help in school, or just someone that you think that you'd like to have maybe sit down and listen to them or read with them or whatever it might be, then contact us at United Way and talk to John about the Coach Kid program. We'd love to discuss that with you. Or you could always go to our website at unitedwayenid.org, and you can find the information under Take Action.
Yes.
I think it's under Take Action, and you'll see Coach Kid under there, and you can sign up.
Yes.
So the event's going to be fun. We're going to have pizza. We're going to have food from, Wings to Go?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Sorry, Buffalo Wild Wings. But yeah, we really need a lot of mentors,
Yes.
and of course the mentees will follow, and vice versa, right?
And one of the things that we've added is we've been able to partner with Prevention Works. And the reason why I wanted to partner with them is because everyone knows we're going through an opioid prescription drug epidemic. And I was thinking of ways of how we can kind of combat that, to not only let people become aware, but give them the necessary tools to maybe deal with that if it's something that they maybe see in the schools if they're mentoring or dealing with, in their home life, or have a friend or family member. So Prevention Works is going to provide for us opioid detection and awareness and prevention training for each and every one of our mentors.
Oh, that's great.
Because some people, and in my conversations with people, don't know where they can drop off expired medications at the police department, or don't realize that if they're traveling with their grandmother and their grandmother or grandfather uses that tray that has a different medications, if they don't have a prescription, if for whatever reason a police person pulls them over, they could look at that. They don't know what it is because they can't say, because they don't have the testing equipment. And then a person could be cited for the possibility of transporting a controlled substance.
Because, well, that's great. So, so with the Prevention Works, that's Sean and his team. You're with them and helping them out. They'll do this opioid abuse awareness training with our mentors. Okay. So again, if you'd like to be a part of the mentoring program, the Coach a Kid program, please contact John. Call us at 237-0821. Of course, it's 580-237-0821. You just give us a call, talk to John. He'll get you into the program. We'd really, really love to have you help us out, help some of these kids out. John Blankenship last year was our Mentor of the Year.
Yes.
And, we'll have another one this year that we'll also put forward and nominate. And, they change kids' lives. I mean, they just change their lives. And I always tell people when I go out and do presentations for the United Way, I always talk about Coach Kid. In fact, it's like one of the first things I talk about because it works. And, these kids were maybe on a trajectory, on a path, heading to the criminal justice system, and now they're on a pathway to achievement, to success, and a brighter future. So, the kids, just their lives change, and I think the mentors' lives change too.
And they respond.
Yeah.
Over the summer, I got a phone call from a student's grandmother, and she said, my grandson came in after the school year was over and said, here, Grammy, here's my report card, dropped it on the table and walked away. And her first thought was, oh my God, no. What happened now? So she picks up the envelope, sees, it's the report card, like I said, and opens it up and looks at his grades. He got 1 B and the rest A's.
Oh, wow. Wow. And probably was doing C's and D's.
No, he was not doing that well.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
He was not doing that
well. I always tell people, too, that, these kids go from D's and F's to A's and B's.
Yes.
I mean, it truly works. And, that's why I'm a firm believer in the program. I'm just so supportive of it. And I know that our friends and donors and those that invest in United Way believe in it as well. So thank you for what you do. And
thank you.
We just appreciate you. And the school system, we can't thank them enough. We've got the event, again, is coming up on
the 17th.
Which is on Monday.
On a Monday.
From 4 to 7. So if you're interested, join us at Leonardo's. And we'll have hopefully pizza and wild wings and water.
Fruit
and
baskets and water.
Yeah,
and just,
that's right.
they're
fruit baskets?
We're working on at least a fruit bowl.
Okay, one fruit bowl. All that other good stuff like pizza and wild wings. Yeah, okay.
Right. Well, I can't emphasize enough how, on a personal level, how appreciative I am of the Enid community and how much they want to make and are making a difference in not only in all of the United Way programmings and through our partner agencies, but also with this Coach a Kid program.
Yeah. Well, thank you, John, for all that you do. And again, my guest, John Gray, who is the Coach a Kid mentoring program manager, coordinator that has been working with us for the last year, going on year 2. And we hope that we'll continue on. We can only do it with your help. And really, these kids need your help as a mentor maybe in their lives. Some of these kids just don't have good positive role models. And we have a lot of good community folks, good community leaders that step up and just sow really good seeds in these kids' lives. And again, it just changes their lives. So thanks again, John. And we hope that you'll call. Again, call John at 580-237-0821 or just visit us at unitedwayenid.org and find out more under Take Action, hit Coach a Kid, and get signed up today. So thanks. Stay tuned for another episode or another segment of Community Talk.
Hi, I'm Lisa Magyar with Creative Arts Enid. Find us on Facebook and our website, creativeartsenid.com. We're at 222 East Maple. Come get creative with us and watch for us on Community Talk.
Hi, welcome to Community Talk. We're with Gaslight Theatre, and we're here today to talk about our town. It is a show coming up on September 7th through the 9th and the 13th through the 15th at Gaslight Theatre. I'm Brad Estabrooks, and I'm here today with
Ruth Ann Miles.
Ruth Ann,
Yes,
it's good
Brad.
to see you today.
It's good to see you too.
We're the Gibbs.
Yes,
we play
we
Doc
are.
Gibbs and Mrs. Gibbs.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about your character.
Mrs. Gibbs is, I think the epitome of what a mom is today. She does anything and everything and fulfills all roles as much as she can for her children, for her husband. She's the glue of the household, makes sure everything stays together, gets everybody where they need to be on time and dressed appropriately.
Now, we've been doing rehearsals for about 5 weeks now.
Yes.
What do you think of the process so far?
This is my first time working with Gaslight Theatre. I've seen a couple of productions. I was very involved in theater when I was in high school, and that's almost 30 years ago. But I was going to go to college to be on Broadway or in the movies or whatever the case may be. And so it's been a very long time, and things are different, but I am very pleased with so far how this production has run.
So would you say Gaslight is a family atmosphere?
Oh, absolutely.
Being new to theater, and at least in Gaslight, how do you feel your role will show to others that they can audition being new as well?
Well, here I am, 30 years later, haven't been on stage for a long time, so I definitely am a newcomer doing this, and I'm excited. I have my 3 children that are 13, 12, 11. I'm excited to have them audition here soon for a role. I'm hoping that we actually can do this all as a family together.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I really love as far as myself. I have my family involved. My wife and I met in theater, and now my 2 children are also involved in theater. We were a part of a show at Christmas time, and I always look forward now to having everybody involved. It's really a great thing. It makes me a proud dad.
Yes.
So let's go back to Our Town. What makes Our Town considered one of the greatest American plays ever written? I know that's a big, bold statement.
I think that it is timeless, and I think that it is for all ages. Younger kids might get a little antsy just because it's not animated like a Disney movie would be, or one of the productions like that. But it definitely is appropriate for any viewing audience whatsoever.
So this is a family-friendly show?
Absolutely.
Anybody, all ages, can come and attend?
They absolutely, and not be worried about being offended, like, oh my gosh, did my child just hear that? Or no, there's nothing in here that is inappropriate at all for any age group whatsoever.
That's awesome, because we need shows that really represent what we can do as far as a group in theater and also a part of the community as a whole, showing a good quality presentation. As far as where we can get tickets, where do you go to get tickets?
Well, I Googled Gaslight Theatre, and the website came up, and then I clicked on the shows that were available, and I found my seats. I was able to get front and center for my family without a problem. It was a very easy process to purchase the tickets. It's not difficult.
Tickets for adults are $15.
Yes.
We also have military and student tickets. Military, I believe, are $12, and student are $8. They do offer group rates, which is awesome. If you can get a whole row filled, that's a really great experience. But I know the Sunday matinee will have discounts, and also on the Thursday show we'll also have discounts. But
yes.
Let's see, they can call and charge by phone at 580-234-2307 if you're interested in buying tickets. And also you can go to the box office at 221 North Independence. Go meet Lyndall there at the box office, and he'll help you select your seat.
And I don't want to forget to say that while Sunday and Thursday are at a reduced rate, but Friday night is the only night that there will be some food and drink that is offered before the show and during intermission that will not be offered the other performance nights. And the 7th is opening night. So
absolutely. Opening night for Gaslight is one of our gems. We always recommend everybody come out to opening night. It will be a grand affair with food. We have a couple intermissions. The show doesn't run too long. It's about a 2-hour running show. And we have a lot of fun. It's a great product that we put out. It's a show that I really love. I think it's one of my favorites because it's not a comedy, it's not a tragedy, it's not a romance, it's not a farce. It's just straight about being in the human experience. It's
Yes.
definitely one that I look at a different way because I read it whenever I was a child and I saw it as a romance story. Now I look at it as a dad and a father as this is my son's experience story where I give him my knowledge and experience in the show.
I can actually remember performing some of these scenes in high school because there are several 2- and 3-person scenes, and so it was quite exciting to come and see this, and it kind of brought back some memories, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, the shows are September 7th through the 9th. The 7th and 8th shows are at 8 p.m. The 9th will be at 2 p.m. And then we have the following weekend, which is the Thursday, Friday, Saturday shows, which again, the Thursday will be at 7:30 and the Friday and Saturday both at 8. So come out, please enjoy a wonderful show called Our Town. And at Gaslight Theatre, we put only the best out there for the community, and I believe we put out the best in the state. Thank you for joining us on Community Talk
Thank you.
with Ruth Ann. I'm Brad Estabrooks, and we'll see you next time on the stage. Welcome back to Community Talk. I'm Brad Estabrooks here with Gaslight Theatre, and we're here talking about our town. I'm here today with
Wally Webb, or my real name is Oaklee Fielder.
Oaklee. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Brad.
Well, let's start in on what's been the hardest part about performing in our town.
The hardest part about performing in our town is that, unlike most plays, most of it is actually like real life. And yeah.
And that is pretty well hard. I can attest to that. Life is hard. Now, as far as our town, it's been around a long time. What makes it relevant over 80 years? Why has it been around this long?
Well, we've been doing the same things that they are doing in our town, except that we have bigger and better technology.
So as far as the technology in our town, do we have a set, or do we have costumes, or do we have props?
We do not have any props except for a table and chairs, and we do not have any big costumes. And the reason why I think that we shouldn't have anything that big, like big costumes or big props, is that so the audience doesn't get overwhelmed with how big the stuff is, or so that they can actually see, and there's not any props in the way of looking at the story.
So it's a dialogue-driven play, basically. You want to pay attention to everybody's word, and you want to be able to listen and see mainly pantomimes that we're performing, so you can pick up on maybe Mother Gibbs crying, or Miss Webb making you breakfast.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. So you said your part was Wally Webb. What other parts will we see in the show?
Well, the main characters are Emily Webb, which would be my sister in the play, and George Gibbs, which is your son in the play. And in the beginning, they're just in high school as friends, and then in Act 2, they start to get together and then get married, and then...
So what you're saying is, in the beginning of Act 1, we basically explain about how the young families get together and how a young love begins.
Yes.
And then possibly in Act 2, we can see the life cycle of daily life and how people will marry and grow up.
Yeah.
And then in Act 3, we basically represent or present death.
Yeah.
And how everybody dies. So really, the human experience, you would say. Our show, which our town is September 7th through the 9th and the 13th through the 14th, is one that takes the human experience and at some points may tug at your heartstrings. And would you say to people, bring their tissues?
Yes, bring your tissues, because the Act 3 at the very end is very, very sad.
It is sad. We won't give away too much, but we will say that it is some emotion that you might feel. And it may not be at that moment, but it may be sometime after that you remember exactly how the dialogue was given, and you'll enjoy what we represent. So as far as getting tickets, how do you get tickets?
Well, you can get tickets online, or you can go to
Online? What's that? Tell me, Oaklee. What's online? At Gaslight?
Yeah.
GaslightTheatre.org, yeah. And where else?
You can go to Gaslight, which is downtown.
At 221 North Independence.
And you can buy tickets there. And we have students tickets and military tickets, and then
So what you're telling me is you're going to invite all your friends, and they're going to invite their friends.
hopefully.
And then on Friday night, we're going to have the biggest opening house the Gaslight's ever seen.
Yep.
Cross fingers.
There's gonna be food.
And food, yes, food will be there. So at Friday night will be the 8 o'clock performance. And then also Saturday will be an 8 o'clock performance. And then we have a Sunday matinee, which I know that I've heard a couple schools coming to that as well. So we're getting the word out about our town. And we'll get one last question in with you, Oaklee.
Okay.
What's your favorite part about the play?
My favorite part about the play is actually having it as like real life, because you don't feel nervous because it's not like real life, or you're not stressed because it's not like real life. In this, you can be stressed because it might be your first play or your second, or that's like pretty much the only way that I get stressed, because this is pretty much regular life.
Absolutely. We can take a lot into this. We have a lot of conversations about what we do in the show, and it's definitely one that I've really enjoyed, and definitely enjoyed with you, Oaklee. I know we've been together now, a couple shows, 2 or 3, but it's really fun being a part of Gaslight and seeing how youth can be a part of Gaslight as well. It makes me so proud that we have people in the community that will continue this as far as Gaslight can go. So come to our town. It's September 7th through the 9th and the 13th through the 15th. I'm Doc Gibbs. This is Wally Webb. And thank you for watching us on Community Talk. And we'll see you next time on the stage.
Hi, I'm Vicki Grants, and this is Jet, and we're with the Enid SPCA. And we are working really hard to make Enid a more humane community. Be sure and check us out on Community Talk.
Good afternoon, or evening, whichever the case may be. My name is Janet Cordell, and today I have my Red Cross hat on. I wear many hats, but today we're thinking and talking about Red Cross. I'm real happy to have here with me one of my compadres, Harry Hammonds. And Harold is he has several titles, but one of his big ones right now is he is the program lead for disaster services in probably most of Northwest Oklahoma, at least in the counties surrounding us. So we're just kind of here today and this week. We're going to come back in a couple of weeks and talk about a specific program. But today we're here to remind you that the Red Cross is still alive and well and very active in Enid, Oklahoma. So Harry, tell us a little bit about, first of all, what you do, and also maybe talk about some of the needs we might have with the Red Cross.
Well, some of the things that I do, I hold a monthly meeting and with the local volunteers, and we talk about some of the programs that are going on in our area. We also talk about what the needs are for the community. We talk about what other stuff that's going on, like We have preparedness fairs that's going on around here. We talk about if we've had any disasters for the month, or we talk about just different things at the Red Cross. We program or training. We talk about training.
We have, one of the things about the Red Cross is there's a tremendous number of acronyms, and it confuses us all. But one of the things that you do is you have what we call DAT team meetings. What does DAT stand for?
Disaster Action Team, which, like it stands for, we respond to local disasters, or sometimes on a national disasters like Hurricane Harvey or Hurricane Matthews. We respond to those. We get what we call a deployment, and sometimes when you get deployed, you have to go out, commit to 2 weeks out from away
Sometimes
from home.
even 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But my friend who's a nurse, just got back from Hawaii. She's a Red Cross nurse, and she deployed to Hawaii. But when you talk about local things, you said local disasters. What type of disasters do we most usually respond to here?
Most of the disasters we respond to here locally is house fires.
Yeah.
And of course, house fires are a lot of times caused by poor wiring, non-working smoke detectors.
And had some from lightning in different parts of the
yeah.
state recently.
We respond to tornadoes or flooding.
You mentioned fires, and we talked about house fires, but one of the things that we've responded to over the past several years, not necessarily Enid, but certainly in northwest Oklahoma, are the major fires, are the field fires. A couple of years ago, we did what we call canteening, which is taking snacks and water and Gatorade and stuff around to the workers. We did that up north around Burlington, but more recently, we've been more out almost into the Panhandle. Did you go out some for the Woodward fires?
No, I did not.
Okay.
But you're talking about canteening. A lot of times when we do canteening, sometimes, or feeding, we do feeding sometimes on these disasters. And one of my things that I do is I drive one of the vehicles that looks like an ambulance. We call it an ERV or ERV, but the name really is Emergency Response Vehicle. And it looks like an ambulance, and we can haul supplies in it, food.
And there aren't many ERV drivers in the state.
Right.
So we're real fortunate to have Harry here to be an ERV driver. Now, if just we had an ERV that we had here in our use.
And in fact, just this week, I was put on standby for the hurricane that just hit down on the coast, but they were thinking it was going to hit towards Texas, and it hit further east, and then so it wasn't that bad of a disaster.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as they anticipated it might be. So one of the, when we talk about needing volunteers, we need a lot of people say, well, I don't want to travel, or gee, I'd like to travel. Well, we need people in Enid. We need people to respond to single family fires is probably our biggest one. I know I was looking at my caseload, and I know Harry was out of town for a few days, and I noticed a couple of weeks ago, I had 2 fires in 2 days. I had 3 fires in just over a week, but I hadn't had any before that for months. So sometimes it kind of comes in groups, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we need local volunteers just for the local events, like say at the end of this month, we're having a emergency preparedness fair in Fairview on the 29th of September. So that's where all of the nonprofit organizations get together, and they put out their brochures and tell what the people, let the people know what their organization does. Right,
and we are a United Way agency, and so we try very hard to respond to things and to be involved in things that the United Way are. They had a big. We were down at Feed the Neighborhood. We were down at, a lot of the different community activities. We do a lot of the runs, and a lot of, we used to, in the old days, we would have what we call first aid stations. Well, they don't let us do that anymore. We're comfort stations.
Correct.
We're there to provide water and Gatorade and maybe a place to rest, or just to give comfort to people. in general. And then, like you say, when we do canteening, a lot of times that's for the responders. That's for the firemen and the policemen and stuff to help them do their job.
Correct.
Yeah. How long have you been working with Red Cross, Harry?
Just about 3.5 years.
Okay, I thought it was like that. Well, and I have, many people have heard, I have a long history with the Red Cross. My mother was a Red Cross Army nurse in World War II, and so I kind of just went along for the ride after the war when she settled in a small town and taught Red Cross swimming and lifeguarding lessons. But I did celebrate just this summer my 50 years of officially being with Red Cross, having my Red Cross pin. You know, I got my nursing pin 50 years ago this last summer.
Well, I have a ways to go.
You have a ways to go before that. Well, and we both, as you can probably tell, we both really have a passion for Red Cross. We want to help people, and that's really what got Harry into it. You've been deployed a couple of times, though,
yes,
right?
Right.
Where have you gone to?
Well, last year I went to Hurricane Harvey. Was down in Corpus Christi for 2 weeks, and then before that I responded to the Elk City tornado. I was out there for several days, and then I was in Savannah, Georgia, 2.5, 3 years ago for Hurricane Matthews, and I was down there for about almost 10 days. I wasn't there quite 2 weeks.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, if I always talk to a lot of my friends, and as couples, a lot of times people will go, when they retire, will volunteer as couples and get deployed together, and that's a neat way to do it. You know, you cannot, I don't deploy out of state generally. My partner, I'm the state nurse lead for disaster health nursing in Oklahoma, and my co-lead person, she deploys a lot. She's the one that just got back from Hawaii. But Oklahoma, for those of you who don't know, has more disasters than any other state in the nation. And so somebody's got to stay home and hold down the fires. So that's what I tend to do, is I tend not to deploy out of state. I stay around here. So
another thing that we do also during a disaster, we provide shelters for, if it's a major disaster, we provide shelters for.
Right. And I know that your church is one of our main shelters.
Yes.
And it's equipped to be, that's really what we'd like to encourage more church groups to do, is to become a team, so that when, and not if, it's not if. In Oklahoma, it's always when we have a disaster, whether it be in Enid or wherever, that some of you all, the different churches, might have small teams that could deploy just in state. But also, if we have a disaster around Enid, that they would be able to, as a group, come together. We tend to really use churches, I think you know, as shelter sites, because they have all the things we need. We've used schools on a lot of occasions, but schools tend to have places where we're not supposed to be. Well, not that churches don't, but churches have usually a kitchen. They have several bathrooms. Many of the churches nowadays, when they build or remodel after Katrina, that we've been really encouraging churches to put in a shower or two. And I believe you have a shower or two at
yes, I believe we have
church.
about, I'm not for sure, there's like 4 or 6.
Oh, I didn't realize there were that many. That's great.
Sure.
That's
we have
great.
2 bathrooms down there that are 2 men's, 2 women's that are equipped with showers.
Okay. And then one of the things that we also do after a major disaster, or even a minor disaster, is we have what you call a MARC, a multi-agency resource center. And what we do is we get the people, all the different entities that might help them. You know, FEMA if they're coming in, DHS, the Baptist men, they do a lot of cooking. They also go in and cut down trees and things like that. And you get them all under one roof. And one of the places that's been designated as a MARC in Enid would be the nonprofit center downtown, which, by the way, just happens to be the home of our relatively new office. And you've got the address memorized, and I don't.
It's 114 South Independence.
He's
I wanted to
cheating just
make
a little
sure it
bit.
was south, not north.
Right. And that's where our office is located. We don't have a very big office. We have storage space, but most of the things we do is if we're going to meet with a client, we go to them. If they're going to be at their burned out house working on it, we'll go over there. A lot of times we'll meet them at, some place where we can have coffee and relax a little bit. So, and if you know people who've been affected by a fire, I'm sure you will hear them talk about the Red Cross and what they've done. One of the things I mentioned earlier, and I just wanted, as we're thinking about closing here, kind of tell you, we're going to be on again the first week of October. And basically then we're going to talk about a huge citywide project called...
Sound the alarm.
And it is what?
What we'll be doing, we'll be installing smoke detectors free of charge into anybody that needs one or wants one or signs up for one. We're going to be canvassing different neighborhoods, and we're going to be working hand in hand with several volunteers, the local fire departments, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Yeah,
there's going to be a
of-
bunch of volunteers involved, and we were going to be hitting neighborhoods, and we were going to be installing free smoke detectors. There are 10-year guaranteed smoke detectors and battery operated.
But you don't have to change the batteries every year like the old ones.
Right.
You just change out the smoke alarm in 10 years.
Yes,
Great.
every 10 years.
Great.
And so we're going to be doing that on October the 13th.
And we will give you much more. The next time we come, we're going to give you much more information about it. But be watching your news sources. We'll have handouts. We'll have flyers every place. This is really going to be a citywide blitz. So in closing, I think there is a number on the screen that is for the Northwest area. If you can call, if you have any questions, you can always also call my phone number. My phone number is 580-554-0378 if you have questions or concerns. But if you have a group that's looking for a project or some community action, community activities, please mark October the 13th on your calendar.
Also, you might, if you're interested in volunteering, you might go on your computer to redcross.org and sign up for volunteering for the Red Cross.
Right.
We're always needing volunteers.
We really do. We need them desperately.
Yes.
Well, thank you all. Thanks, Harry, for coming, and thank you all for listening today. And look forward to talking to you again in a few weeks about our major project that we've got coming up.
Hi, I'm Tree Perkins with Youth and Family Services. We've got a lot of great programming and opportunities to serve your family at Youth and Family Services. Be sure and watch for us on Community Talk to learn about many of these great things that we can help you with.